there, welcome to Caffeinated Crafting. My name is Daniela, known as Caffeinated Gert around the interwebs. It is Sunday, March the 27th. Here in today, gorgeous Middle Tennessee. It's cool, but the sun's shining and it's beautiful outside. It's only 48 degrees, which is cool for us for March, but it's worth it when the sun is so gorgeous. So I have a big finished project this week and some work on a couple of projects. Well, one project you haven't seen in a while. And I guess before we get into that, let's just go ahead and deal with the whole haircut. So, because I've had some interesting reactions, some good ones, some bad ones. So the reason I cut all the hair off, as you can see, is that I wanted a fresh, no color start. I wanted to kind of go see what it looks like under there, and I've been thinking about doing this for quite a while. Just cutting it off really short to like where all the hair color and stuff is gone. It's so soft. I just want to pet it. Anyway, I've been thinking about it for a while, and this week I just went ahead and did it. I thought, you know what? April's coming up. I'm about to turn 50. It's as good as time as any to just kind of give myself a fresh start. So I did. I'm gonna let it grow like 3 weeks-ish. And then I have a hair appointment to get it all tidied up a bit, because I did it myself, and so it may or may not be all even. Actually, looking at it here, it looks like it's not, but I slept on it, so this side's like laying down, and that side's not. I can't wait to see all my little sparkly patches. It's really interesting to see for me, because like through here it's gray, but then only down here it's gray. And then I also have like a patch in here, and the rest of it's not. So I can't wait to see what it looks like when it grows out. But anyway, so that's enough about the hair. I have a huge finished object this week. I finished my whatever sweater. The pattern is by Julie Knits in Paris. And this is what it looks like. I made it short sleeve because I live in Tennessee, and I've made one of these before in a different color. I made it long sleeves, and I think I've only worn it, I think, twice this year, because it just doesn't get cold enough to wear a big heavy sweater. This sweater is knit by holding 2 strands together, and I will link to my Ravelry project pages to talk about what yarns I used, or I could just mention them now, I guess. I mean, I will link to my Ravelry project page down below anyway. I'll link to like the home page for my project, so then you can look at anything you want. But I used Countess of Blaze, Viscount of Spark, in The Sound of Silence, and I ended up using about 1.5 skeins. No, that's not right. Yeah, that is right. 1.5 skeins of that. I used 4 skeins. I ended up using, okay, I'm just going to say what I started off with. How about that? That'll be less confusing for me. So I started with two skeins of the Countess of Blaze, Sound of Silence, which is what gives it the, if you look close, the pops of pink and green. So like it was like brown, but also had pops of color. There's a picture of the yarns before I cake them up and right after I cake them up, so you can see them better if you wish on my project page. I used Knitting Color Glam Rock Sparkle Sock. I had 2 sock blanks of that, and I alternated them, and I held Knitting Color Acoustic Sock in Book of Shadows throughout. So while it looks like it's all one skein or one color, whatever, It's actually multiple skeins striped because I wanted to use stash, but I wanted it to look blended, and I think it looks very blended. Different things I did from the pattern. Now the pattern is more of a recipe, excuse me, than a full-on pattern. So it might not be the best pattern for a first-time sweater knitter, but it is a top-down raglan. You can try it on as you go. So I would say an adventurous beginner could definitely do it. It's not hard for sure. I went with short sleeves. They'll come to like right about here, and if it's cold enough, I'll wear a long sleeve t-shirt under it, which is what I prefer anyway. That way I don't have to worry about the wool getting itchy. Not that this is itchy. Or if not, I could wear short sleeves under it or just wear it if I want to. So short sleeves, I did make it longer than suggested a little, and I made it so a little tunicky, and I did a split hem. So once I got to the bottom hem, I made it longer than it suggested, and I also split it. So, and then I also made the front longer than the back to give my tush a little more space. And so it'll be like a little long. I haven't blocked it yet. I'm curious to see exactly how much it will grow, but the longer the better. Yeah, I was going to almost wear it to record in, but it's too warm. It's too warm in here. So anyway, here she is. She's gonna get a block, and I think I will wear her later this week when I go knit with my friends. I think she'll, it'll be in the evening, so I think it'll be cool enough. So that is in my project page, it is called the Whatever Mexican Coffee because it was Mexican coffee inspired in order to work for my Ilvermorny class. So what did I work on this week other than that? And that actually didn't really take that long because I had one sleeve almost ready once I decided I was going to make it short sleeves. Didn't decide that until this week. So yeah, didn't take too long. Short sleeves are fast. I did work on my clapetilla a little bit this morning or this afternoon before I recorded. I got another inch-ish done. I am almost ready to drop another stitch. This will be getting a lot more love now that some of these other things are off the needles because I can work on this and talk. So when I do video chat with my knitters or whatever, this will probably be my main project now. So that'll get a boost. I did work on Aiden's socks just a tiny bit. And, oh look, I didn't finish my row. Jeez. That's so unlike me. It's not unlike me at all. Let me knit these 3 stitches that I couldn't be bothered to knit before I put it away. If you remember last week, I talked about casting on the second sock and getting it down to the heel so then I could decide what to do with the heel at the same time. Well, I did cast on the second sock, but I didn't even finish the cuff. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 3 more rows and the cuff will be done. This is going to be my take it with me knitting. I have a meeting to go to tomorrow, and then I'm going to be knitting with some of my peeps later this week. So this will be the travel knitting this week to get a little attention. So I worked on one more thing. Now I worked on this all day last Sunday because I've been avoiding it. So If you look at my project page, this is called the Ancient Runes for Ilvermorny, and it's actually, the pattern is Advent Calendar Scarf 2010 by Kristen Beneken. I forgot to say, the Clappertee is by Kate Gilbert, and you can find that at knitty.com. But I've repeated that multiple times, so I'm sure you know that by now. Okay, so for Ancient Runes, I am using Whimsy Stitches Sparkly Sock Yarn. This is the yarn. The color is Oh the Pinks. I love this yarn, and I love this color so darn much. Here it is in the skein, because I have 3 of these, and I've only caked up the first one so far. So it's by Whimsy Stitches, and it's Oh the Pinks. I love the depth in this color. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Look at that. That's a beautiful tonal. So I'm knitting this for Ancient Runes for Ilvermorny, which means I need to do 24 different stitch patterns for that class. But I didn't want to do squares, so I got permission to do this scarf. And I had done the first days, the setup and the first day, which is this, no problem. I'm not a huge lace litter. This is a big project for me because it is lace. So then I started the second one, and I could not get it to line up. My stitch count was always off, and I could not figure it out. So it had been in timeout for a while. So last week, I pulled it back out and started looking at it and realized that you're supposed to have this like 2 garter row with there's a bead right there. I don't know if you can see that, because I made the bead, I had beads that matched my yarn. If I show it to you, then I can't see it. I'm like, where do we sit? Here we go. So there's this row, this little 2 garter rows, then the row with the beads and 2 more garter rows. That's supposed to go between each day, and in that section you might increase or decrease a stitch depending on what you need to set up the next day. Well, I didn't do that, so I didn't do my setup, which is why my stitch count was always wrong. So I frogged all the way back. I had about half of this motif, this bobble situation done, but I ripped all the way back to day 1 and then re-knit day 2. So I did the setup that I hadn't done, and then all of this bobbly lace situation, and I knit this setup for day 3, and then I was tired. That's a lot of lace for me. Now it looks like the next day is not going to be so bad. Like the first day was easy. I was like, oh, I can do this. And then I got into this bobbles. I had never knit bobbles before. These aren't even big bobbles, I guess, but good Lord. You do like, you knit, so this is all into one stitch. You knit, yarn over knit, yarn over knit, yarn over knit. So you end up with 7 stitches. And on the way back, you purl them together to make the bobble. Well, let me tell you, you can't get a knitting needle into 7 stitches to purl them together, especially when some of those are yarn over. I feel like it almost would have been, I don't know if it would have looked the same, but maybe if you like knit in the front and the back, I feel like that might have been a better technique. But what I ended up doing is I pulled out a really skinny crochet hook, and I used that to stick in there to pull my yarn through, because that was way easier than trying to do it with my knitting needle. And now I've stuck it into my yarn. Oh goodness. Okay, so that's what I did. So now I am ready to knit the next section. I'm going to try to power through this over the next month or so, because Rick of Whimsy Stitches is going to be in Nashville at the end of April, and I would like to have this finished. One, I want this monkey off my back and this accomplishment completed for my class, but also then I could show it to him because it's out of his yarn, and I think it's going to be really pretty, and I could wear it that day. So that is my goal. So after I finish with you lovelies, I have some baking and cooking I want to get started, some meal prep, and then while that stuff's cooking, I'm going to work on this today. My butterfly. So remember how it was all floppy and I said I was going to wait until it was dry and then see about re-stiffening it? Well, I did. It wasn't completely dry, but it was mostly dry, and I was like, that's not gonna stiffen up. So I put more of the stiffy on it, and then what I ended up doing is I have a Pringles can. I draped it over the Pringles can to keep it spread out. Oops. And then I squished it a little bit on the end because it was like really stiff to make it a little more floppy. But look, I have a butterfly, and it is really like, look how stiff that is. It's like super stiff. So for snowflakes or whatever, that is some freaking good stuff. Check that out. That will look gorgeous on a mobile at this point. It's still, still haven't like tried my hand at crocheting this the way it's supposed to look, but hey, this is a beautiful butterfly too. So this is what he looks like now. She butterfly. All right, I think that is all I have for this week. Keeping it short, sweet, to the point. I hope you have a great week. If you feel like sharing, let me know below what you've been working on. Are you learning a new skill? Have you started a new project? Are you excited because you finished something up like I am? I love that I'm getting stuff off the needles. It makes me really happy. Until I get startitis, and then I cast on a bunch of stuff again because, you know, that's what you do. Yeah, I think that's it. You guys have an awesome week. I'll see you later.